Partners. Craig, you raised your rating from a hold to a buy this week, even before you heard him. Why?
Yeah, so I was in China last week, and I met with several of the key suppliers, a couple of the key producers of electric vehicles in China, and got hold of some of the production data out of China. And, the April number was 2,300 units. You look back to 1Q17, the full quarter, second quarter, they had production or sales into the U.S. We had 1,550 units. So this quarter, we're looking at something like 7,000 to 8,000 units credibly in China. China's going much faster than people expected. They really only got to 8,000 units in the U.S. in their third quarter. China's going to surprise. It's going to surprise to the upside.
Okay, China may surprise, but we also heard that there's no demand problem here, Jeff. And we also, while he said there's no demand problem, he did say that the inhibitor to buying a Tesla is affordability because people literally don't have the money to buy the car. What do we read into that?
Well, we read the usual Tesla turbulence that goes unexplained. And yeah, yesterday was a little disappointing for those of us who enjoy the drama and glamour of it all. But I will agree moderately with Craig, who is quite the optimist today, that for investors, that was not a bad meeting. It did seem like he's certainly putting out a rosy picture on demand, which doesn't seem to match the facts beyond Craig's on-the-ground research. And, the production's been down by a third. They surprised us badly in Q2. In fact, at the end of Q1, but in Q4 they told us he's going to be profitable from every foreseeable quarter in the future. He couldn't estimate it even just 3 months out. He was so far off. But also just taking a look at the continued turnover in management. They have a huge delegation problem. Some 40 senior people in a year, 2 generals counsel, 2 vice presidents of communications, HR, engineering, even people working on batteries and things that have been leaving, and the automatic pilot where they've had the terrible crash that Consumer Reports, of course, has trashed them on this. These are unexplained issues, didn't come up. But he did bring 2 people who seemed to stay employed all the way through the meeting up there on the stage with him, and they've been with him for a while. So the chief technology officer and the person in charge of batteries, and so that's a good sign, I guess. We see some look at stability, but boy, this whole array of products. Insurance, digging more holes in the ground for mining instead of the boring company, and all the rest. As Joe says, leaf blowers to, I guess maybe it's good for bringing on the set to check out people's hair, to flamethrowers and all the rest. Henry Ford once said, you don't build a reputation by telling people what you're going to do. Let's see him actually hit some of these numbers instead of being off by 25 and 35%.
Craig, your response?
So the stock's already re-rated, right? I mean, the stock was down 50% from when we put out the fact that, impartial data from Medi in Japan shows that the battery price is actually double what they were claiming. And investors have calibrated this. So, yes, the cost of the cars is dramatically higher than where it would be under ideal circumstances, but they're still able to sell them. And I think they deserve a lot of credit for being the leader. I mean, they, number 1 in dollar volume as far as vehicle sales, number 4 in unit sales in the U.S. They deserve credit for this, and I think investors have just been too bearish.
Craig, you sound like you're somebody who's a fan of it now because the price has come down at 222 at this point. What's your price target? Where would you say, okay, this is appreciated again?
So I personally would consider myself still a little bit of a critic, but I do think that there is still some upside. So my target was unchanged when I upgraded at 238. I think it probably does go to the mid 200s and then remains range bound until we see the impact of competition later on this year.
Jeff, we've only got about 30 seconds left. Yesterday, he said 90% of the orders are coming from customers who aren't holding a reservation for the Model 3. Is that good news or bad?
He sees it as good news. There's some pent-up demand. Like when Harley has had problems where they couldn't, long ago when they couldn't meet the surging demand.
But it also means people who were there for reservations maybe aren't staying on the list.
Yes, it does mean that. And you wonder if people are giving up and they're frustrated. So exactly right, this other way of seeing it. And it's with all these model cuts, 3 price cuts and things, it is amazing. Now, Craig actually knows what he's talking about on this. But you take a look at some of the analysts, this Adam Jonas, who says, well, it could be worth, $492, it could be worth $10. So he comes out saying it's a distress case. So I'm putting it with 230 or something like 235. Is all over the map. At least, Craig, you've been consistent and you know what you're talking about. And you revealed the news on the battery pricing being way higher than it truly is. But it's there's a lot that went unexplained, and I don't think shareholders pushed him too hard.
Well, he's a musician. I mean, what's he know about Adam Jones? What does he know about? What's he know about Tesla?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I commend him for trying. I mean, branch out and everything, but they're hot. They're unbelievable. They are. They're the hottest, right?
Well, they are,
kidding.
but a lot of his models aren't so hot. And his #1 model was Nikola Tesla himself, who died as a hermit in a hotel with no money, but a genius.